Hi, and welcome to Homemade Emily Jane. My name is Emily, and I am here to tell you today about my newest quilt pattern, Beaming. The Beaming quilt pattern is a very fun star quilt block pattern that features some traditional shapes. It is fat quarter friendly and perfect for an advanced beginner quilter. The Beaming quilt pattern includes traditional cutting instructions using your rotary cutter, and it also includes additional AccuQuilt fabric cutting instructions as well. The Beaming quilt pattern includes 3 sizes: baby, throw, and bed size, and they are all block based, so you could really make it as small or big as you want. As I mentioned earlier, the Beaming pattern is written for an advanced beginner quilter, which means if you've made a quilt before, you're probably ready to try out this pattern. It features a couple traditional shapes such as flying geese and a hourglass quilt block or quarter square triangles. These foundational shapes are really great building blocks for beginner quilters, and I hope you'll learn some new skills in the process. To make it a little easier, I also have a couple additional tutorials that you can find here on YouTube or over on my website, homemadeemilyjane.com, and those tutorials will help walk you through every step of the way. The first tutorial I would love to tell you about is this flying geese tutorial. Learn how to make flying geese with no waste. You'll make 4 flying geese at a time. The other tutorial that will be super helpful for making your beaming quilt is this scrappy hourglass quilt block tutorial. Of course, the quilt pattern does include step-by-step instructions every step of the way with tons of diagrams as well. One of my favorite things about the Beaming quilt pattern is that it is fat quarter friendly. You can use 5 fat quarters to make a baby size beaming quilt, 10 fat quarters to make a throw size beaming quilt, or 22 fat quarters to make a bed size. I'm really excited to see as you pull those fat quarters from your stash and make your beaming quilts. I would love to see them. I do have quilt kits available in my shop at the time of making this video, so be sure to check out my website for the kits to make this quilt right behind me using this green and blue fabric bundle. And if you love the colors but maybe you want to make a different quilt, I also have fat quarter bundles available for the same fabrics too. Check out homemadeemilyjane.com/shop to see all of the different options that I have for you there. Now that I've told you a little bit about the pattern and the techniques that we use inside the pattern, I would love to show you some sample quilts. So of course I've got this one behind me, blue and green. It was made entirely with Riley Blake fabrics. I used a mix of their confetti cottons and some additional blenders. I also made this coral and white baby beaming quilt, also using Riley Blake's blenders and solids, and I really love how it turned out. I used Shannon Fabrics Minky on the back, which is my go-to for baby quilts, and it is so soft. And then I quilted it myself using this grid quilting using my walking foot. And the third beaming quilt sample that I personally made is this bright, summery, cheerful beaming quilt that you'll actually see on the pattern cover itself as well. This beaming quilt was so fun to make. I got to use some of the new solids from PBS Fabrics and mixed it with a couple of my tried and true favorites as well. So this quilt is made entirely with solids from PBS Fabrics, their Painter's Palette solids. And then it was a long arm quilted by my favorite long armer, my mom, and I think she picked out a really great design for it too. What do you think? So those are the 3 sample quilts I made for the beaming pattern, and I'd love to share with you some that my testers made as well. I have some really fantastic pattern testers, and they really showed up for this beaming pattern. First off, I have 3 amazing versions that my lovely friends over at the Sewing Arts Center made. They have kits available for all 3 of these versions as well, so check those out. I will put links to all 3 in the description below for you. Next up, Rosie Girl Quilting made a fantastic version as well, and they also have kits for sale. So I'll put a link for those in the description below too. Finally, I hope you'll enjoy this little slideshow that I made of some of my other testers quilts that you can check out now. Thanks so much for joining me in celebrating the release of the Beaming quilt pattern. Be sure to check out homemadeemilyjane.com and subscribe to my email list to make sure that you're always in the know with all of the new things happening over here at Homemade Emily Jane. Happy sewing!